We are often told that Israel versus Palestine is a religious war, that it's a territorial fight between Arab Muslims and Jews. Truth is, it's a complex proxy war that is 150 years old. Let's closely look at the untold origin of Israel Palestine conflict. Thanks for tuning in. This is Ratna. You are watching Empire Diaries. Palestine is back in the news like it flares up every 2 years. This time, the Hamas terror group started the bloodshed. TV news and social media are giving you a blow by blow account from ground zero. So called experts on social media are telling you the same superficial things. But why the conflict doesn't end? To understand why the war is permanent, you have to throw your torchlight on the hidden origin of the crisis. What is the standard narrative you are told about Israel and Palestine? Basically, we are told Israel was created because of a British government decision. It is said that Israel became an independent country in 1948 when British invaders withdrew from the Palestinian region. We are told that the decision to create Israel goes back to 1917. That's when Arthur Balfour, the British Foreign Secretary, issued the famous Balfour Declaration. It called for the creation of Israel. We are told Israel was necessary because Jewish people in Europe were being persecuted. Therefore, they needed a safe haven. Basically, we are told Israel was created because of a British government decision. And what about Palestine? What is the official line? We are told that before Israel was created, Arab Muslims lived in that region. When Israel was born, the new government pushed the Palestinian Muslims to two designated zones, Gaza and West Bank. And because the Palestinians feel angry at being marginalized, the two sides are fighting. All this is true, but it's not the complete picture. And because of this incomplete picture, we are unable to figure out why the fighting doesn't stop. So let's slowly peel the layers and find out the actual origin of Israel. The story goes like this, and it is well documented. It involves the rich and famous Rothschild family. The Jewish family is a powerful banking and oil business player originating in Frankfurt in today's Germany. Now, during the second half of the 19th century, the Rothschild family became the biggest player in the huge oil industry in Russia. They were the main supplier of oil in Europe. They wanted to become the chief oil supplier to the huge market in Eastern Asia. But there was a problem. The shipping journey from Europe to Eastern Asia was way too long. To send Russian oil to Eastern Asia, the land route was problematic and the sea route was winding. Ships would need to travel all around the African continent before heading east towards Asia. It was not practical for business. The Rothschild family was desperately looking to cut down on the distance. How to solve that problem? There was one way out: take control of the newly built Suez Canal in Egypt. The Suez Canal was built in 1869. It is a 193-kilometer long waterway connecting the Mediterranean Sea with the Red Sea. The canal divided Africa and Asia. It's a major shortcut between Europe and Asia. So the Rothschild family thought if they can control the Suez Canal, they can cut down the transport of Russian oil to Eastern Asia by 6,500 kilometers. Ships can move the crude oil directly from the Mediterranean Sea to the Red Sea using the Suez Canal, and from there to the Arabian Sea and towards Eastern Asia. Now, in 1874, something interesting happened. The Egyptian government in Cairo went bankrupt. It needed urgent international help. The Rothschild family immediately stepped in. They gave a big fat loan to the British government to buy shares in the Suez Canal Company, which operated the canal. The British government later repaid the money. You can see here a receipt from Britain's Finance Ministry for the payment of the first installment of the Suez Canal loan. Securing a business deal is not enough. You need a physical footprint to secure your business interests in an area. So, after gaining control of the Suez Canal through the British government, the Rothschild family took an interest in Palestine. At that time, the common Jewish people living in Russia and Eastern Europe were being persecuted by the Tsarist regime. They were escaping Russia and Eastern Europe and migrating to Western Europe, but the Jews were not being fully welcomed there. Tensions were rising. The Rothschild family saw this crisis and stepped in. Edmond Rothschild, who handled the family's French affairs, took up the new mission. He decided to get the Jews moved to a safe place. He selected Palestine. He persuaded the world powers to allow Jews to move to the Palestinian region. That's near the Suez Canal, remember. The plan worked. Bottom line, the problem of Russian oil shipment to Eastern Asia was solved. Many years later, in 1956, Egypt nationalized the Suez Canal. But the Rothschild family continues to have an influence in the area due to the strong presence of Israel. That's an untold story about Israel. But what about the Palestinians? What about the two pockets, Gaza and the West Bank? The untold reality about the two Palestinian territories is much more complex than what we are told. You see, first of all, we need to understand a basic fact that it is militarily easy for Israeli forces to take over Gaza and the West Bank at any given point of time. But that simple act has never happened. Why? The Rothschild family alone is not the only outside power over there. There is a strong presence of another historical Western business power. It's called the Rockefeller family. For 150 years, world politics has seen historic competition between the American Rockefeller family and the European Rothschild family. The Rothschild family mainly controlled banking and oil businesses in Europe, and the Rockefellers mainly controlled the banking and oil industries in North America. For many years, they competed to control parts of Europe, Asia, and Africa. So in West Asia, the Rothschild family controls the Suez Canal region, and giving them stiff competition is the Rockefeller family, which till recently used to dominate the oil business of the Gulf region. It is said that the Rockefellers may have indirectly backed the Palestinian cause in the past. Just a few years ago, in 2014, the Rockefellers pulled out completely from the oil business in the Gulf region. It was a historic exit from the oil sector by a family known as America's first oil giant. But their indirect influence in the geopolitics in the Gulf region is still there, possibly in the form of support for Gaza. In fact, it's not just the Rockefellers. Business interest groups from different parts of the world have supported various factions of the Palestinians. The administrations of Gaza and West Bank don't work together. In a crisis like this, the two separate territories should come together for the common Palestinian cause, isn't it? Strangely, that hasn't happened. They don't have a united front. In fact, there is a civil war between the administrations of Gaza and West Bank. West Bank is run by the Fatah political party. Fatah wants justice for the Palestinians, but only through a political process. In contrast, Gaza has been run by deadly Hamas groups since 2007. We live in a world where many terror organizations are remote controlled by distant players. Hamas could be a similar case. Foreign meddlers don't leave their clear footprints of their involvement. The Israel Palestine conflict is a complex proxy war. The local fighters are only being used as puppets, with ideology serving as a currency. That's why the crisis never ends for good. At the end of the day, no peace loving Palestinian wants to get caught in the crossfire between Hamas and Israel and between Hamas and Fatah party. Keep this in mind while you are tracking the daily events on TV. Try to understand who is working for whom and who is behind all these proxy games. If you are tired of propaganda, turn to Empire Diaries because we cover the cover ups.
Haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel yet? Subscribe now. Don't forget to press the bell icon so that you get notified whenever we publish a report. Follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. WhatsApp get updates to 98210 for news and analysis you are not told. Visit our website empirediaries.com for more in-depth articles, columns and reports. Stay informed, stay awake.